Dear students, welcome to yet another lecture of your preparatory module of English for CLAT examination. Today, we are going to discuss homophones and homonyms and some related concepts along with a practice exercise. So, let's take you to the lecture outline. First, introduction, then CLAT related homonyms, then homophones and a quick practice exercise 1. Then we'll discuss polysemy, hyponymy, and some bit of homographs, followed by a quick practice exercise 2, and then commonly confused homonyms, advanced homophone sets, and then some contextual terms related to professional, scientific, legal, academic, and literary area. Will then be followed by some expanded CLAT practice question set on homonyms, homophones, and homograms, and finally an integrated practice. Now, some basic definitions. What are homonyms? Homonyms are the words that share the same spelling and pronunciation but have different meanings. For example, bark. That's the sound of a dog, and bark is also the tree covering. So, here are two words with the same spelling and pronunciation but different meanings altogether. In the very same way, what are homophones? Homophones are the words that share the same pronunciation but have different spellings and meanings. For example, there, and there. First is THERE, that shows us the direction, THEIR, that shows us the possession, and the second is THERE is an abridged form of they are, which has a comma in between. So that's the concept of homonyms. Now, some of the common CLAT homonyms that are often seen directly or indirectly in the examinations, that is, say the word bank. Bank refers to a financial institution, and bank at the very same time refers to the river edge. For example, she is visiting the State Bank of India today. However, the kids are advised not to be near the bank of the river. Now, let me give you a disclaimer before we continue this discussion that you might, again, like I said in my previous lectures as well, you might not come across direct questions on homonyms, but a sound understandings of homonyms, homographs, and the entire family of the same words would certainly enhance your general understanding of your language. It will elevate your understanding of what's written. It will elevate your comprehension abilities. Okay. The second in the word in the series is bear, an animal. Second, bear, to carry. Okay. Be aware of the bears in the forest. Whereas second, she is unable to bear the trauma. Now these are the two different meanings here. Fine, one is a penalty. The second is good quality. She has been fined $350 for her unsportsmanlike conduct in the match. Whereas I think we are fine with the quality of the woods. Something like that. Left is used in a way of direction as well, and left is used in a way of departed as well. For example, please go straight from here and take the second left. Whereas with the second one, it's departed. That is, she left for her yearly vacation. In the very same way, we have the last pair, that is ring. So ring is commonly used as a jewelry, whereas on the contrary, ring is also used as a sound. For example, he gifted me a ring on my first wedding anniversary. On the contrary, the phone rang. It's a past tense of ring, or the phone is ringing. So ring that way is also used as a sound. Now moving ahead, some types of homonyms. Now there are types of homonyms. Now first is a complete homonym, that is same spelling, same pronunciation, and different meanings. For example, the word light. So light is also means something that is not heavy, that is easy to carry, whereas light also means illumination. On the contrary, we have this category known as homographs, where two words have same spelling but different pronunciation and different meanings. For example, LEAD. When a person guides us, okay, we are being led by that person. Okay. Or lead is to guide. Okay. She's the one who is taking the lead. All right. Whereas lead is a metal that is used in the pencil, if you can see the nib from which you write, that metal is lead. Okay, so there are these homographs. Now see, I've just given you a pictorial representations of homonyms. Bat, see the two meanings of the word bat here. Okay, one is an animal, the other one is a tool from which we play, an instrument from which we play a game, either baseball or cricket. Park, to park your car, to park a vehicle. And a park is a play where children go and they play. We have this community parks, colony parks everywhere. Bank is again could be a financial institution or could be held to be a place where we collect money, like piggy bank. On the contrary, bank could also mean the end of the river, the shore of the river. Saw, okay, used as a physical characteristics, see and saw could also mean an instrument that is used to saw the wood. Okay, saw. Trunk, even elephant has a trunk, okay, a part of the elephant's body, trunk. And the base part of a tree, okay, the straight part of a tree, that's trunk. Bark, again, the covering on a tree is bark. On the contrary, the sound that dogs make, okay, that's dog's bark. Okay, rock, again, could be a rock band. Okay, or rock could also be used in some other sense. For example, he rocked the event, the band rocked the event, in that way. And rock could also mean a massive piece of stone. And row could also mean, the children are sitting in 3 rows. Okay, a seating arrangement. Whereas rowing a ship, or perhaps rowing a boat, okay, when you row a boat, it moves forward. So that way, these are quite some bit of homonyms that we used quite often in our daily lives. Now let's see homophones, a small pictorial representation of homophones. Okay, words that sound the same but are spelled differently and have different meanings. For example, knight. So one knight is a knight who fights in the war. Okay, knight. If you've seen the period movies like Gladiator, okay, you see knights, they do fight in an arena. Whereas night is one part of the day. When the day ends, we have the night. Son and son. So son means an offspring, a baby. All right. Whereas sun again is a planet. Hair and hair. Now hair again, human hair, and hair basically also is synonymous to rabbit, a subspecies of rabbit. 8 is a past form of eat, whereas 8 is also a number. Pear is a fruit. Pair means two. See means to look, and see, on the contrary, means a water body. Flower means something that we eat, and flower basically means a flower that grows on the plants. Meet, to meet someone, and meat also means human flesh. Sail means to sell something, and sail means to sail on a ship. So these are homophones which are very commonly used. We'll be discussing the advanced versions of these with some of the related concepts in the lecture today. Now complete homonyms versus homographs. Light and light. Now light basically, okay, here both words have the same spelling, okay, however their meanings differ. Same spelling along with same pronunciation. First, light is a noun, that means something that makes things visible. All right, the plants need light from the sun to grow. Whereas something which is light is not heavy or easy to lift. Your suitcase is so light. Okay, whereas the second one is lead and led. So lead is a verb. The verb lead is to influence someone or something to go with one, whereas lead refers to heavy chemical element of atomic number 81. Like I told you, the nib of the pencil, the last part of your pencil through which you write, that that chemical element is lead, that metal is lead. Okay, so now let's go with a quick practice. Now what I suggest you all do, you can pause this video for a while, you can complete this practice exercise, and then along with me, you can check what the answers are. Now, what the practice exercise says that in the following sentences, write homonym if the word shares the same spelling or pronunciation but has different meanings. Write homograph if the word shares the same spelling but has different meanings and may have different pronunciations. Now, these are the 5 sentences. The dove dove into the water to escape the predator. After the storm, the bow of the ship was heavily damaged. She couldn't bear the weight of the bad news. The artist will present a beautiful present at the gala. He learned to play the bass guitar, but he also enjoys fishing for bass in the lake. Now, let's look for the answers. Now, first dove. The first one, homograph. Second one, homograph. Third, homonym. Fourth and fifth, again, homograph. Now, the first is the first dove, that is noun, the bird, whereas the second dove is past tense of dive. Okay, they have the same spelling but different meanings and pronunciations. Okay, now, homograph again, bow, front of the ship. Okay, and bow. Again, to bow is to bend forward, take a bow. Okay, have the same meaning but different meanings and pronunciations. She couldn't bear the weight of the bad news. Bear is to endure, whereas bear, okay, the animal, okay, they have again the same pronunciation, same spelling but different meanings. The next one, present, verb, is to give something, and the other present is noun, a gift. Okay, they have the same spelling but different meanings and pronunciations. Present, present, sir and zer. These stress patterns exercise also we'll have a small discussion in this session. He learned to play the bass guitar, and but he also enjoys fishing for bass in the lake. So bass, a low musical tone, and bass is a type of fish that have the same spelling but different meanings and pronunciations. All right, moving forward, let's take a small detour and let's tell you what is polysemy. Okay, though it is not directly related to what we are going to discuss, but it will certainly enhance your general understanding of language. Now, what is polysemy? Polysemy is the phenomenon where a single word has multiple related meanings. Unlike homonyms, where meanings are entirely unrelated, polysemy involves meanings that share a conceptual connection. For example, head, the part of the body containing the brain. Okay, but and at the very same time, head could also mean the leader, the head of the department. Okay, he's the head, or the top or front of something, head of the table. Now, in all these examples, the meaning of head are related in the sense that they involve the idea of being at the top or the foremost part. Okay, so polysemy, what it does, it highlights the richness of language where single term can adapt and take on different nuances depending on the context. And not only this, at times in the modern usage of language, we have seen some words that are massively used in different senses. One word can have very many meanings in different contexts. For example, let me give you a classic example of this helping verb have in English and how many different meanings does it carry. Okay, that's a classic example of polysemy. Now, this word have demonstrates polysemy because of its various meanings like possession, obligation, experience, eating, causation, etc. And it stems from its core idea, that is of holding, possessing, or being associated with something. Now, other than its use of being a helping verb and auxiliary verb, it serves very many purposes, and that precisely is the quality of language that is known as polysemy. Now, let's see what are the different meanings the word have carries into itself. First, as an auxiliary verb used to form present tenses, I finished my homework, she had already left when I arrived. As a main verb, it shows possession to indicate ownership or possession. I have a car, she has 2 cats. To indicate relationship or quality. For example, I have a brother, this book has a lot of pictures. Fourth, to indicate obligation or necessity. That is often used with to for obligations. For example, I have to complete this assignment, or if you don't have to go if you don't want to. Okay. Fifth, as a synonym for eating or drinking, used informally, to mean eat or drink. Did you have your breakfast? Or let's have some coffee. Okay, so here it is used synonymously to eat. We are not saying did you eat your breakfast, but we are asking did you have your breakfast. Okay, again, to experience or undergo. I had a great time at the party, or she had a nightmare last night. Seventh, to indicate actions used in causative constructions. For example, I'll have him call you back, or we had the house painted last week, or say to indicate ownership of abstract things. She has confidence in her abilities, or do you have any questions? 9, in idiomatic expressions. Common phrases include have a seat, have a look, have a go, or have fun. And 10th, in negative or in interrogative forms, to emphasize lack or ask about possession or experience. I've had time to finish it, or have you ever been to Paris? Okay, the last one, as a substitute for need or obtain. Okay, we must have the proper tools for this job, or perhaps can I have your phone number? Okay, like this. So that is polysemy. All right, that's a quality of language. Quality of language, a characteristic trait where one word can have different meanings in different contexts. Okay, again, one small example of hyponymy. Okay, now what is hyponymy? Hyponymy is a relationship between words where one word represents a more specific category of a broader term. In other words, a word of a more specific meaning than a general or superordinate term applicable to it. For example, spoon is a hyponym for cutlery. Okay, for example, it describes a hierarchy, a type of another. For example, hypernym could be fruit. Hyponyms would be apple, orange, banana. Hypernym could be car. Hyponyms could be a SUV, a hatchback, okay, or say a sports car like this. So each hyponym is a specific type of hyponym. All right. Now let's come back. Now let's talk about homographs. What are homographs? Now homographs are the words with identical spelling but different pronunciation and meaning. Now key characteristics include first, the same written form, different stress patterns, and distinct etymological origins. Now, what is etymology? It's a study of origin of words, how the word originated. Like we know, English has a massive influence of Greek, Latin, and French. So, at times, many words that are very commonly known as English words today have their origin either from Greek or French or Latin. So, that is etymology. Now, in homographs, we can have words with distinct etymological origins. Now, here we have some homograph examples like noun verb pairs. For example, present, that is gift, present, to show. Record in the sense of documentation, okay, or record a document. Where are the records? Okay, here means physical documents. Whereas if I say I'll record this in the data, here it means documentation. Project could be assignment. Okay, again, project means to plan as well. Permit means to the physical license. Okay, do you have the permit to do so? Can you show me the permit? Here it means the physical license. Whereas to permit someone, his father permitted him to join the event. So that is to allow. Object is a thing. Okay, can you pass that object to me? I don't really know what do we call that object. Whereas object means to oppose as well. The defense strongly objected to the council's petition here. Now, stress-based differences. Okay, now you see here we have the stress-based differences. The capital part here, I've capitalized it intentionally, is to be stressed. Okay, for example, when you talk about behavior, you say conduct. Conduct, the first part is stressed, whereas when it talks about leading, okay, conduct. Okay, in the very same way, desert, desert, produce, produce, rebel, rebel. Okay, so rebel is a person who rebels against the authority. Rebel basically means to resist. All right, so there are stress-based differences as well. Context dependent meanings. Okay, for example, we say bow, that is front of a ship. Okay, whereas we say bow, okay, bend in respect. And then we say bow, weapon for arrows, and then we say bow for a bow tie. Okay, so there are context dependent meanings as well. Now let's have a very quick practice, okay? Like we've discussed, can you identify the pronunciation difference here before I read this? Again, what I suggest you do, you can pause this video for a while, answer this, and then see if you get that right. Identify the pronunciation difference, and second is stress pattern analysis. Now you see the answer here. Before that, let me read that for you. First, now if you see here, TEAR, and at last again we have the same word TEAR. Now when tear, that is drop from the I, is pronounced, okay, that is tear. Whereas when we have to mean to rip apart, that is tear. Tear. Tear, to rip apart, rhymes with air. Whereas tear, a drop from the eye, a liquid drop from the eye, rhymes with peer or ear. That's the difference. Second, when it comes to weather or air movement, then it's wind. However, when it means turning or spinning or twisting, it's pronounced wind. In the very same way, when CLOSE means to shut something down, then it's close, z, close. Whereas when it means something that is near, then it's close, close. Okay. And in the very same way, if you see the stress pattern analysis, it's convert. The stress is on the first part, whereas second is convert. So the noun would be convert. In the very same way, when it comes to import, so it's import when it's a noun. When it's a verb, it's import. Okay, it's increase as a noun. As a verb, it's increase. Okay, now that's the difference. The same is written here. If you see the pattern here, in UK English, tear when referring to a drop from the eye is pronounced as tear, rhyming with pear, while tear when meaning to rip apart is pronounced as tear, with a more open A sound like in here. Essentially, the first tear sounds like ear and the second tear sounds like air. The word wind is pronounced as wind in the UK when it refers to the weather or air movement. Why we are referring to the UK? Because we accept British English. We've accepted British English. When it is used as a verb to mean turning, spinning, or twisting, it is pronounced as wind in the UK. All right. Again, like I said, in the British English, CLOSE, when used as a verb meaning to shut something, is pronounced with a Z sound at the end. That is close. Z. While CLOSE, when used as an adjective meaning near, is pronounced as close. Essentially, the difference lies in the pronunciation of the final consonant depending on the context. Both words are spelled the same but sound slightly different depending on their usage. Okay. The second is stress pattern analysis. Okay. Now, again, like I said, it's convert versus convert, import versus import, increase versus increase. Okay, it's just a game of where you are putting your primary stress. Okay, so if you analyze the stress pattern, these words differ. Now, okay, there are some commonly confused homophones, okay, which we very often confuse. For example, accept and accept. So accept means to receive or agree to do something. Okay, and accept basically means excluding or apart from. Okay, the second, affect or effect. Now what is affect? A verb meaning to influence or impact something, whereas effect means a noun meaning the result or outcome of something. Compliment, something that completes or enhances. Compliment, a polite expression of praise or admiration. Principal, the head of a school or the most important part of something. Whereas principle basically means a rule, a belief. Okay. Stationary, ARY, not moving or fixed in one place. Whereas stationary, ERY, is writing material such as paper, pens, envelopes. All right. There, that is their possessive form meaning something that belongs to them. There refers to a place or position, and they are a contraction of they are. Okay. To again used to indicate direction, place, or purpose. That is to. TOO means also or excessively, whereas TWO is the number 2. By again indicates by indicates proximity, means, or agent, whereas is a variable expression. Bye like this. Buy is to purchase. Here and here refers to a place or a position, whereas here again to perceive sound with your ears. That's hearing. Write and write to compose text or record something, whereas RIGST means either a direction, okay, or it can mean being correct, a kind of moral entitlement. Right. All right, in between, like if we see that in binary, right or wrong. So yeah, these are some of the commonly confused homophones. Now if you see some advanced homophone sets, okay, I mean the same thing, two, there, and bye. Fine. In complex sets, you see right, pair basically a set of two things. I bought a pair of shoes. Pear is a type of fruit. She ate a juicy pear. And pear is to trim or peel something. Please pare the apples for the pie. Okay. Way, a path, direction, or manner. This is the way to the station. Way to measure weight. Please weigh the luggage. And whey is a watery part of milk left after curdling. Okay, whey is a common ingredient in protein shakes. You might have heard whey protein. Okay, which and which, again, which used to ask or specify a choice. Okay, which book do you prefer for studying history? And then which is a person, often in the folklores, a person, okay, with a magical power, okay, usually attributed to some feminine figures with magical powers and some evil intentions. So the witch in the story cast a spell, something like this. Weather and weather. Now weather refers to atmospheric conditions. The weather is sunny today, whereas weather is used to express a choice, a doubt, that is, I don't know whether to stay or leave. And then cite. That is, cite is to refer to a source or mention. Okay, please cite your sources in the essay. Whereas cite is a location or place. All right. And SIGST sight is the ability to see or something seen. That is, the sight of mountains was breathtaking. All right. Now, some context and usage. Now, here we are going to discuss some different fields, like in scientific terms, in professional fields, okay, in business context, legal context. What are some of these terms that are very commonly used and how do they differ? So though you might be knowing a lot of these terms, but I just want you to focus here so that you know what these terms are and what primarily happens to be the difference. For example, principal. Now, PRINCIPAL, the head of a school or the most important part of something. Okay, a school principal announced a holiday. The principal, PLE, is a belief or a fundamental rule. Honesty is the key principle in life. Profit and profit. Again, profit is a financial gain or a benefit. The company made huge profit this year, and that's why the bonuses were given to the employees. Whereas prophet, a religious figure, prophet often is a religious figure who speaks on the behalf of a divine power, okay, and who has a mass following, whose beliefs are held by all the followers. So Prophet Muhammad is an important figure in Islam, okay, the principal figure in Islam, like this we can say. Capital, okay, TAL, a city that serves as the seat of the government or wealth or money. We can say that Delhi is the administrative capital of the country, whereas Mumbai is the financial capital of the country, something like this. And capital again means a building where the legislature meets, okay, where the government bodies or the legislature meets. The US capital is located at Washington, DC. The next is complement. So COMPLEMENT is something that completes or enhances. The red scarf complements her dress perfectly. Whereas compliment, PLIMENT, is a polite expression of praise or admiration. He gave her a nice compliment on her presentation. Fine. Now, moving on, some scientific terms. Okay, some scientific terms, technical terms basically that we often use. Analysis, analyze and analyze. Now analyze or analysis is a detailed examination or study of something. All right, it's a noun. The analysis of the data revealed significant trends in the current marketing patterns of Gen Z. On the contrary, analyze, the act of examining or breaking something down into parts. It's a verb. We need to analyze the results carefully. Like this: effect and effect, the result or outcome of an action. It's a noun. All right, the new policy had a positive effect on the company. All right, that is effect. Now affect, to influence or impact something. That is a verb. The bad weather affected our travel plans. Like this. Again, the second effect is a verb. Now, fusion and fission. Okay, fusion, the process of combining two or more things into one, often used in physics, okay, to describe the merging of atomic nuclei. For example, you can say nuclear fusion occurs in the sun, producing energy. Whereas when it comes to fission, the process of splitting something into parts, okay, especially in physics, to describe the splitting of an atomic nucleus. That is, nuclear fission is used to generate electricity in power plants. Then theory and theorem. Theory is a well substantiated explanation of some aspect of the natural world supported by some evidence. All right, the theory of evolution explains the diversity of life on earth. Whereas theorem, a statement or proposition in mathematics or logic that has been proven based on some previously established statements. Okay, Pythagoras theorem is a fundamental principle in geometry. Okay, that is the difference between theory and theorem. Let's move ahead. Okay, some of the terms, legal terms in legal context. Okay, now again we have four sets. Now one needs to understand that these are not the uh, words that are confusing words that we often found in this field, but this we are discussing only to facilitate things for you. There could be very many pairs like this, but here, just to facilitate you before we start the final practice, here are some of the commonly mistaken terms. For example, council. Now, council, basically COUNCIL, is a group of people convened to make decisions, to provide advice. That is council. The city council approved the new park project. Now, the next one is counsel. That is COUNSEL. That is advice or guidance. Can also refer to a lawyer or legal advisor. She sought legal counsel before signing the contract. The second, practice and practice. PRACTICE, the noun form meaning the act of doing something repeatedly or a habitual activity. He needs more practice before the exam. Second is practice, the verb form meaning to perform or engage in an activity repeatedly. That is used in British English. Alright, in American English, PRACTICE is basically used for both. Fine. Now the sentence could be she practices piano every evening. The next one is statute and statute. Statute is a formal law or regulation enacted by a governing body. The new statute prohibits smoking in public places, and if one is found violating the rule, one is penalized heavily, something like this. Whereas statue is a sculpture or figure, typically made of stone, metal, or wood. The Statue of Liberty is a famous landmark. Moving on, court and court. Court, a place where legal cases are heard or an area for playing sports like tennis or basketball. The case will be decided in the court or the players are practicing on the court. Okay, whereas caught basically is a past tense of catch, okay, meaning to seize or to capture something, okay, or to get hold of someone. Fine, he caught the ball during the game, or the thief was caught, all right, or the robbers were caught after a massive manhunt was launched by the police department, something like this. Now, moving on, we have some of the confusing words that we often come across in academic context. Now, what are these words? Course and course. Now, Course basically a path, direction, or series of lessons or events. Okay. She enrolled in an online English course offered by ABC University. Now, course is rough in texture or lacking refinement. Okay. The sandpaper felt coarse to touch. The floor of the ceiling is quite coarse. Okay. So that is something that is rough in texture, and that something that lacks the kind of refinement that is required. Lesson and lesson. Okay. lesson, a unit of teaching or a moral learned from an experience. Today's lesson was about Shakespeare's plays, whereas lesson is to reduce or diminish something. The new policy will help lessen traffic congestion. Fine. Story and story, one is story and the second is storey. A narrative or tale, that's a story, an account of events. Fine. He told an interesting story about his childhood. Whereas storey means a level or floor in a building, used primarily in British English. Fine. The house has 3 stories. Again, summary, summary and summery. Summary, a brief statement or account of the main points. She provided a summary of the meaning. Whereas other summery, relating to or characteristic of summer. The dress had a bright summery pattern. Fine. Now the last one, okay, is literary terms. Okay, literary terms in writing context that we often see, which can possibly create some kind of confusion. Now, tale, tale and tail. Now, tale basically is a story, especially one that is imaginative or fictional. The old man told a magical tale about dragons, whereas tail is the rear part of an animal or something resembling it. That is, the dog wagged its tail happily when he saw his owner. All right. Write and write, WRITE, to compose text or record something. She will write a letter to her friend. Whereas write can mean correct, a direction that is opposite to left, or a moral entitlement, something which is morally correct, right or wrong, something like this. You answer the question right, or turn right at the corner when it refers to the direction. Now, scene, SCENE, a part of the play, movie, or location where something happens. The final scene of the movie was dramatic. Okay. Now, SWEN is a past participle of see. Okay, meaning to have visually perceived something, to have perceived something from the eyes. I've seen that movie before. The next is style and style. Now, style is a distinctive manner of expression or design that is unique to someone or something. She has a unique writing style. Whereas style, a type of gate or step used for climbing over a fence or wall. He climbed over the stile to enter the field. All right, now let's move on for the practice exercise. However, before we begin practice, let me suggest you that there are a lot of practice exercises that I've inculcated in today's session. Many of these questions you might never find directly in any of the examination. However, a brief understanding of these concepts will certainly work wonders in developing a strong understanding of homophones, homographs, and homonyms. Now, first we'll do 3 exercises, practice exercises, each on homonyms, homophones, and homographs, and then a combined exercise, an integrated practice exercise on CLAT style questions. Here, detect the meaning. Okay, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 sentences. I can't bear to see a bear in captivity. The bank of the river has a bank branch. She left her left glove at the home. The palm trees swayed in the breeze as I read my palm. The fair maiden went to the fair today. He tried to book the table at the restaurant, but book was already full. So, now, there are 6 sentences. Now, let's see. The first one, bear, is to endure, whereas the second, bear, means an animal. The second sentence, the first bank was a financial institution, whereas the second bank was a river edge. The first left was a direction, whereas the second left is the past tense of leave, that is left. In the very same way, the first palm was a tree, but the second palm is the palm of the hand. Okay, the inner part of your hand, that's the palm. The first pair in the next sentence was beautiful. However, the second FARE fare was the cost of travel. The first book was to reserve. The second book is a set of written pages. Now that's the difference. Again, let's move to the next exercise. Here you can again pause this video for a while and you can read this sentence and you can complete it. The hikers decided to dash for a while and enjoy the beautiful dash. The photographer took a perfect dash of the athlete right after he made his best dash. Please dash the door before you. The fisherman used again a dash to catch a fish near, again a dash. Now when I'm reading this, you all need to see if you can understand that which word in which sense will be used in which blank. Okay, he made a dash investment decision after reading the latest stock market dash. And the artist will dash a new painting while displaying his previous dash. You can either pause this, okay, or with me you can write the answers. And here we go and we see the correct answers. The hikers decided to rest for a while and enjoy the beautiful rest. The first rest means to relax, and the second rest means what remains, what is there to come. Okay, the rest of the scenario, something like this. The photographer took a perfect shot of the athlete right after he made his best shot. That means shot can refer to a photograph or an attempt in sports. Okay, so the photographer took a perfect shot of the athlete right before he made his best shot. Please spring the door before you spring. Okay, so here spring, okay, can basically mean to move or jump or perhaps a mechanical action. Okay, so please spring the door, that is close the door also, okay, or open the door before you move. Okay, so here the word spring is used as a homonym. The fisherman used a cast to catch fish near the cast. Now cast can mean to throw a fishing line or a group of actors in a play. Okay, now he made a capital investment decision after reading the latest stock market capital. Here capital can mean financial assets or the main city of the country. All right, now the last is the artist will draw a new painting while displaying his previous draw. Again, draw has two meanings here. Draw can mean to create art or tied result in a competition, that the competition ended in a draw, something like this. All right, now here some contextual exercises for you. Again, you can pause this and you can read these questions. So we have 4 questions here. Create sentences using rock as both noun and verb. Demonstrate the different uses of spring. For example, show multiple meanings of bat, and use bark in 2 different contexts. So you see here some of the answers. Rock as both noun and verb. As a noun, she picked up a small rock and skipped it across the lake. Whereas as a verb, the strong winds began to rock the boat back and forth. Second, different uses of spring. Now as a season, the flowers bloom beautifully in the spring. As a sudden movement, he made a sudden spring to catch the ball. Third, as a water source, they found a fresh spring in the mountains. And as a mechanical object, the watch stopped working because the spring inside broke. So there are different uses of the word spring. You can make n number of sentences as you wish. Third, the multiple meanings of bat. Now as an animal, the bat flew out of the cave at night. As a sports equipment, he swung the bat and hit a home run. And as an action, she didn't even bat an eye when hearing the shocking news. Okay, again the fourth one, bark in different contexts. As the outer covering of a tree, the tree's bark was rough to touch. And again, as a sound made by a dog, the dog's loud bark scared the strangers away. All right, now let's come to homophone. Here, just pause the screen and make the choice of the correct word. The princess will, the throne, please, the before leaving, the announced new dash rules, he couldn't bear to lose the competition, the prophet predicted great profit in the venture, she left a generous tip for the waiter after the meal. Now, quite easy. Okay, the princess will heir the throne. Heir here means the person who inherits a title or a property, whereas heir refers to atmosphere. Okay, now please check the weather before leaving. Check here means to examine, while check is a banking term. Okay, it's a banking instrument. All right, the principal announced new stationery rules. Principal refers to the head of a school, whereas principle means a fundamental belief. Stationery refers to writing materials, while stationery means not moving. It's a difference of ERY and ARY. Now, he couldn't bear to lose the competition. Here, bear means to endure, while bear means uncovered. Okay, lose, LOSE means to not win, whereas lose, LOOSE means something that is not tight. The prophet predicted great profit in the venture. Now, prophet here refers to a religious visionary, okay, like Prophet Muhammad, while PROFIT, profit means financial gain. She left a generous tip for the waiter after the meal. That is, tip here refers to the extra money given as a gratuity, okay, while typed is the past tense of type. So, here are the answers. Now, here in this particular exercise, do one thing, read the sentences and identify if you can identify some error in the sentences. You're not going to believe your test results. It's important to know its meaning. The reindeer pulled the sleigh through the rain. She went to meet the council to counsel them. The alter ego decided to alter the plans. He wore a plain white shirt while looking out of the while looking out at the vast plain. Now, so the correct one is you are. Okay, you are not going to believe your test results. Now, YOUR is shows a possession. Okay, it's possessive, while you are is a contraction of you are. The second is it's important to know its meaning. It, comma S is a contraction for it is, while its is possessive. Now, reen basically means to rule. So there, the reindeer pulled the sleigh through the rain. Okay, not the way it was written. And the correct one again in the next sentence is she went to meet the council to counsel them. Now, COUNCIL is a group and COUNSEL means to advise. The next one, the alter ego decided to alter the plans. ALTER, alter means to change. Okay, while ALTAR is religious structure. Okay, where we see the fire, alter that. He wore a plain white shirt while looking out at the vast plain. So PLAIN, plain, basically means simple or flat, whereas PLANE, plain, refers to an aircraft. Moving on, we have these three complex sets, that is make a sentence from or write a sentence highlighting the difference, make a sentence from again and write a sentence highlighting the difference. So you can do this on your own while pausing the video. I'm just sharing the answers. Here are the answers. Now here for homographs, this is stress pattern recognition. Mark the stress in these pairs. So you read it by yourself and see in which part would you put the stress before we begin discussing, or before I read them out. PROGRESS, RECORD, PERMIT, CONVICT, and REFUSE. Here it's progress and progress. It's record or record. It's permit, which is a noun, and permit, which is a verb. Convict, a noun, convict, a verb. And refuse, a noun, and refuse, a verb. This is how the stress patterns will work. Now, contextual usage with stress creates sentences showing different uses of LEAD, WIND, BASS, ROW, and CLOSE. Now we have discussed all of this. I hope you remember. So you can create sentences on your own, and then eventually we'll move for the answers. So let's see what the answers are here. LEAD, as a metal, the pipes were made of lead, which made them heavier than expected. Whereas guide, the tour guide will lead us to the historical district. Okay, LEAD, used pronounced differently in different context. WIND, for first, air movement. The wind was so strong that it knocked down a tree in the yard. Whereas other WIND is to turn. You need to wind the clock every day to keep it running. Third, BASS, fish. The fishermen caught a large bass in the lake, whereas music, it's bass. The bass in that song really stands out, making the beat feel powerful. Now, again for the fourth one, row, ROW. Now, row for an argument basically means what? They had a row over whose turn it was to do the dishes. Whereas the other row basically refers to the seating arrangement, the line in a way. The students stood in a neat row waiting for the bell to ring. The next one is CLOSE, nearby. The store is close to my house, just 2 blocks away. Whereas to shut, please close the door quietly so you don't wake anyone up. So that is the difference. Now for the descriptive questions, I'll be showing you the questions across, and I would expect you to write the answers on your own. Advanced application, use both the meanings of DESERT, desert, in a single sentence. Create a paragraph using present as both noun and verb, and write a short story using multiple meanings of conduct. Okay, so you do it by yourself by pausing the video again, whereas I'll just show you the answers here. Meaning of desert in a single sentence. The second one, creating a paragraph using present as both noun and verb, and a short story using the multiple meanings of the word conduct. All right, now some integrated practice on CLAT style questions, or perhaps any of the competitive exam style questions. For example, reading comprehension. If you read this, the bass player caught a bass while taking a break from practice. He had to present his present findings to the band who were present at the recording. The lead singer had to lead them through the new arrangement, though the lead weight of responsibility was heavy. Now the questions are: identify all homographs in the passage, identify different uses of present, distinguish between the uses of lead, and fourth, create a similar paragraph using different sets. Now, first, identify all homographs in the passage. Again, BASS used twice in the passage in different senses. As fish, the bass player caught a bass, and as music present. Okay, the bass, the band who were presenting the recording. Present as a verb had to present his present findings, and as a noun, his present findings. Again, lead, the lead singer had to lead them, though the lead weight of responsibility was heavy, as a noun here. Second, the uses of present. Okay, he had to present his present findings to the band. In this case, as a verb, present means to show or give something, such as findings or results, to others. Whereas as a noun, okay, his present findings, in this case, present refers to the current findings or the information that is relevant at the moment. And third, the uses of lead, LEAD. The lead singer, as a verb, the lead singer had to lead them through the new arrangement. Here, lead means to guide or direct the band members, though the lead weight of responsibility was heavy. So in this instant, lead refers to symbolizing the weight of the responsibility. Okay, that is a heavy metal. Now, a similar paragraph, so you can just read it on your own quickly. Now, moving on, error detection series. Now, it says which sentence contains incorrect usage. Now, if you read the sentences carefully, you will find one of the sentences incorrect here. For example, the fare was fair for the distance covered. She couldn't bear to bear the pain. The principles were admirable, and they are going to check their results. Now, I don't think it will be much of a challenge. The answer is this one. They are going to check their results. Okay. Now, it should not be THEIR. It should be they, comma, RE. Okay. The word there basically is a possessive pronoun. It is used to show possession. Okay. So, they are going to check their results. That is they, comma, are, which is a contraction of they are. So, they are going to check their results. Moving on. Improve these sentences using the correct homophone. Now, there are 3 sentences where the homophone might not be used correctly. So, let's take a look. The weather affects whether we go out. She couldn't accept the accept letter. And the principle was to maintain discipline. Now, the first one. The weather affects whether we go out. Now, the corrected WEATHER to WHETHER to indicate the choice or condition. Okay, so WHETHER indicates a choice. All right. Now, here it would be the second sentence. She couldn't accept the acceptance letter. Here, EXCEPT is corrected to ACCEPT to indicate receiving. And then the form of accept was changed to acceptance. That is as a noun. The third, the principle was to maintain discipline. Now corrected PRINCIPAL to, and we have put in a apostrophe S to show possession, and we clarified the use of PRINCIPLE as a moral or guiding rule. That is the principle. Again, if I were to ask you to fill in this blank, what would be the correct answer? The soldiers dash in the dash without water. DESSERT, or and where do we find DESERT? So let's quickly look at the answer. The correct answer is first DESERT. Okay, the second is DESERT. Again, how? The first desert refers to barren, dry area of land where soldiers are located. Now, second, desert is used as a verb meaning to abandon or leave behind, implying soldiers were left in the desert without water. This is not to be confused. Let me give you a disclaimer. This is not to be confused with desert, DESSERT, basically, which means a sweet dish. Okay, after dinner, they went to have some desserts. Okay, so dessert there means a sweet dish, often eaten, or often complemented with the main course, with the main meal that you eat. So that is dessert. All right. Now, paragraph development. Write a coherent paragraph using at least 5 pairs of homonyms, homophones, or homographs from the following list. Right, there, wind, wind, present, fair, lead, led, and bass or bass. Now, let's very quickly see. You can make it on your own, and I've made it for your convenience here so that you can check. Obviously, your paragraph will be different from what I have made, but the context should be the same. At the rite of passage, the young man was determined to write down his thoughts, as he knew this movement would be important for his future. As the ceremony began, he looked right at his family, who was sitting there in the front row, knowing how proud they are of him. After the event, he and his friends decided to wind down by walking through the nearby park, where a beautiful wind blew the trees. They stopped by a stand selling fish and decided to try some bass, the local specialty. As they continued, they realized that they had spent too much time, and the fare to the next town would be fair but not cheap. With the night falling, they knew that they had gone to get home before the trains stopped running. So that's some bit of exercise, my dear friends, and that's it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture on homograph, homonyms, and homophones. We try to practice as much as we can, and we try to delve into some of the basic concepts. All right, I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you in some other session now. Thank you so very much. That's it for today. Thank you.